Right, factorial, we know that it is a recursive procedure in which we calculate the factorial of a number by calling the same function repeatedly. But each time we call the function, we will be passing different set of parameters. We will be passing different set of parameters. That was the concept of factorial what we have studied. Now, the writing the function or code for that calculation of factorial of a number, we can write the function something like this. Right. So to find factorial of a number, we'll define a function. We'll be calling the function like this, that is fact of n. And this in turn can be written as n into fact of n minus 1. So that is true. And we'll be simply printing the factorial of a number as f. That means what we do, we call this factorial function. And this is where the definition of the factorial function is. This is where the definition of the factorial function is. And here we have to call the function recursively. Here we have to call the function recursively. Whatever value of n is passed here. In the theoretical extension, we have seen the value of n as 4. We have said the factorial of 4 or 5, 3, whatever number you pass, we have to find the factorial of that number by using recursive procedure. Means we are calling the same function again and again. But in the code, what we have to check here is the negative numbers are not allowed in the calculation of factorial. So we'll check whether n is less than 0. If it is less than 0, negative numbers are not allowed. We are simply exiting, right? And we know that factorial 0 is 1. So this is the base condition for terminating. This is the base condition. That is, if value of n is equal to 0, we will simply return 1, saying that that is where we stop. That is where we stop the calculation of factorial. That is just now what I explained. If n is 0, factorial of 0 is 1, we will simply return 1. Else what we do? We will repeat the procedure something like this. What is that? Factorial n is given by n into n minus 1 factorial. This is what we know. But we should write the code for this. What is that? To process this, we will take that n minus 1 and assign it to some other variable called x, so that I can pass that as the parameter for the next recursive call of the function. So that I can pass this as the parameter for next recursive call of the function. That means I am calling the same function again, factorial function again, by passing x as the parameter now. What is that x? X is nothing but n minus 1. So if you have given value of n as 4, I am calling something like this, 4 into, should call like this, that is 4 minus 1 is 3 factorial. That means this in turn, it will do what? I am going to calculate the factorial of x and get that result in y. That means I am going to calculate this one and I will get that result in y. The meaning of this, I will get the factorial of x, call this function again and store it in variable y, and then return the final result. What is that? N. What is n? N is 4. So n into y. So in our case, what is n? N is 4. What is y? Whatever result I get here, y. Then that will be the final result. That is how the recursive procedure will be called. So what happens here is, when you write this fact of, I'll just reduce this font size so that I can show it in the single screen. Right? So when I write something like this, make a different ink for that. So when I write something like this, fact of x, the same function will be called once again. So please concentrate. The same function will be called once again, but with different parameters. What is x now? X is having n minus 1. N minus 1 is 3. So now the value of n will be 3. Again, the same procedure will repeat. When you call it for the next time, value of n will be 2. Again, the same procedure will repeat. When you call it for the next time, value of n will be 1. The same procedure will repeat. So when you call it next time, the value of n will be 0. And when the value of n is 0, what we do? We simply return 1. So this is the simple code for the theoretical explanation what we have studied just now. So this is the recursive function for calculating factorial of a number. For calculating factorial of a number. Now after factorial, we have seen about Fibonacci. Before I go for GCD, I'll first talk about Fibonacci sequence. the code for Fibonacci sequence can be something like this. So we know that the first two numbers are fixed. That is Fibonacci of 0 and 1, it is fixed. Now, this is the code for that. To calculate the nth Fibonacci number, we'll call the function. If n is less than or equal to 1, we'll simply return 1. Else what we do, take the sum of previous two numbers, that is previous number and previous to previous number. That is, find the n minus 1 Fibonacci number, then find the n minus second Fibonacci number, store them in the normal variables x and y, then return the value of x. Like the same thing what you remember just now. What this is just function for that. Whatever explanation I gave. 0 and 1 are the predefined numbers. The next number will be 1, 2, 3, and so on. That is the same procedure. We will find the Fibonacci values of previous two numbers and return that result. That's it. So here this one more example they have solved. That is to find the fourth Fibonacci number. If you want, I can explain this also. The fourth Fibonacci number. How do you find the fourth Fibonacci number? Fourth Fibonacci number is given by the sum of third number and the second number. Because fourth number is given by sum of third number and second number. How do you find the second number? Second number is given by sum of first number and third number. Third number is given by what? Sum of second number and the first number. Previous two number. That's it. Now 0 is 0. We know that. First number is 1 as usual. Then this Fibonacci of 1 is given by 1 plus 1 as usual. That first Fibonacci number is given by, again you reduce it in terms of 0. Then again it is reduced in terms of 0. Then these are the expected values what we get recursively when you go on calling. Then that is what is the number 3. Because we know that Fibonacci of 0 is 0. Fibonacci of 1 is 1. This Fibonacci of 1 is 1. Then this will be written. Directly I will write those steps. See here, once you resolve this, what is the Fibonacci of 0? That is 0. What is Fibonacci of 1? That is 1. What is Fibonacci of 1? That is 1. So this is expansion. This is expansion for this. Second Fibonacci number is given by sum of first Fibonacci number and 0th Fibonacci number. That is the expansion for that. Right? Write this 0, 1 and this 1 as it is. 0th Fibonacci number, we know that it is 0. And first Fibonacci number, we know that it is 1. So add everything, we'll get 3. That is the fourth Fibonacci number in the sequence is 3. Because 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 2, and 3. 0th Fibonacci number, first Fibonacci number, second Fibonacci number, third Fibonacci number, and fourth Fibonacci number. So the fourth Fibonacci number in the sequence is 3. So that is what is the result. A simple C recursive procedure for calling. And whenever you write the recursive functions, we must be careful that the name of the function is used properly, but with different parameters. What is the you should write the function in such a way that we will reach the terminating criteria or base criteria. What is the base criteria in our case? It must be 1. Beyond 0, we are not going to calculate. Beyond 0, we are not going to calculate. So that was for the Fibonacci. Factorial over, Fibonacci over, and let us come to GCD. So GCD also involves the recursive procedure, greatest common divisor. So as we know from the mathematics, it can be calculated by some formulas like this. GCD of any given two number that is given by recursively, we go on reducing them into smaller entities. That is given by b comma a mod b. That is given by b comma a mod b. So a mod b will give us the remainder value. And again, we are calling this function, provided the condition here is a is greater than b. That is the normal procedure for GCD. But when we stop, when we get GCD of a comma 0, that is when the first argument is a and the second argument is 0, then the GCD of the entire calculation will be a itself. GCD of entire calculation will be a itself. That is the terminating criteria for this is this one, GCD of a comma 0. The procedure, the same procedure is given in the algorithm. So how do you calculate the GCD of two numbers? Divide a by b and assign the value of the remainder to c. First procedure, we have to calculate this value and then assign it to C. Then assign the value of B to A and C to B. Just we have to swap the two numbers. We repeat these two steps until the value of B becomes 0. And if the value of B is 0, then GCD of A comma B will be the A. A as the answer. Then we'll stop. So it will be clear once I take one example here. Here is the one example GCD how it will be calculated recursively. But before that, the C code I will tell how to calculate the GCD. So I want to print this answer, and here I am calling the recursive procedure GCD of A comma B. And this is what is the definition of the function. When you call this function, this is what is body of the function. Body of the function will be invoked. Function definition will be invoked, and that is these are the required criteria, brace criteria. The B should not be, if B is less than or equal to A, because that is the normal mathematical procedure, and A modulo B is equal to 0. Because if we get the remainder as 0, then directly we'll be returning B as the value. B itself will be the greatest common divisor. Else what we do, we go on calculating. If A is less than B, else part, we calculate the GCD. But while calculating GCD, we concentrate on two procedures. What is that? If A is less than B, then calculate GCD of B comma A. Why? Because the first number must be, first larger number must be given as the first parameter, then smaller number must be given. That is the procedure. If A is less than B, just swap them. In place of GCD of A comma B, you write it as B comma A. That's it. Why? Because the divisor should be less than the dividend. That is the condition from the mathematics. The divisor should be less than the dividend. Else, what we do? We calculate the remainder, we perform A modulo B, store the remainder in answer, and again calculate the, again call the GCD by passing B comma answer as the parameter. So this is the coding part. But when I take example like this, will be still clear to you. What is this? In this example, we are trying to calculate GCD of two numbers. A equal to 30 and B is equal to 18. We are trying to calculate GCD of two numbers. So first store those numbers here. A as well 30, B as well 18. So calculate the remainder, that is perform A modulo B. That is after dividing A by B, what is the remainder value? Remainder will get as 30. I hope you can understand. When I divide 30 by 18. So 18 into 1 is 18. What is the remainder that I will get? 2 and 1. So 12 is the remainder. So we have got 12 as the remainder. Simple mathematics are doing. So when you calculate that, what the procedure says, go back to procedure. This step 1 we have done now. What is step 2? Assign the value of B to A and value of C to B. That is remainder of A minus A divided by B to B. Just you have to assign those values. It is shown here. Assign the value of B to A, then assign the value of this remainder, whatever result you get, that you should assign it to B. We're just swapping that till we get. And this is where, this is what is the function call. At every location, this is what is the function call. Now, what is the next procedure? We have these new values of A and B now. Again, I have to call what? GCD of 18, 12. GCD of 18, 12. What is GCD of 18, 12? You calculate and try to find the remainder. Find the remainder after A gets divided by B. What is A? A is 18. So I will write this part now. A is 18 and B is 12. So divide this 18 by 12. 12 into 1 is 12. We'll get the remainder as 6. So remainder as 6 we have got. So once we get remainder of 6, just swap these values. Assign B to A, then assign C to B. These values are getting swapped. Then again calculate 12 divided by 6. That means try to divide the number 12 by 6 and get the remainder value. 6 into 2 is 12 and the remainder value is 0. So remainder value is 0. Then again swap the values recursively. 6 will be assigned to A and then 0 will be assigned to B. Now calculate what GCD of a comma 0 will be called. What is A? A is 6. What is B? B is 0. So whenever B is 0, then we know that GCD is A itself. So greatest common divisor for 30 and 18 is 6. So this is where we use the recursion. So one more example where we use the recursive procedures. So using recursion, we have seen three entities now. Factorial we have seen, GCD we have seen, and Fibonacci sequence we have seen. Next thing is Tower of Hanna. It needs more theoretical explanation. What I do is I'll first cover with the Ackermann's function. So this is simple definition you need to know about this Ackermann's function. Only definition is required to be studied for the Ackermann's function. So what the Ackermann's function here is? The Ackermann function is a function with two arguments, with each of which can be assigned any non-negative integer. You are supposed to allocate only non-negative numbers for the Ackermann function. That is, any number you can assign from 0 onwards. And the definition for the function is, so you'll be asked only with the definition, but for better understanding, I have solved one example also. This example solution you may not find in the textbook. Right? What is the definition of Ackermann's function? If m is equal to 0, because we will be calling the function like this, a of m comma n. In the function call, if m is equal to 0, then the result of this a of m comma n will be simply n plus 1. That is the result. Another condition is if m is not equal to 0, but n is 0. Whenever you are calling function like this, m is not equal to 0, but n is equal to 0, then a of mn is given by a of m minus 1 comma 1. Just you have to remember this. That is the recursive procedure, how we call. If both are not equal to 0, the third criteria here is if m is not equal to 0 as well as n is also not equal to 0. In that case, what we do, a of m comma n is given by subtract 1 from m and then again recursively call a of m comma n minus 1. So that is the recursive procedure for that, for Ackermann's function. Right? I'll take one specific example here. So what is that? We are supposed to solve a of 1 comma 1. So this can be assumed like this, a of m comma n for better understanding. A of m comma n, because we have the notations here for m and n. So a of m comma n. So value of m is 1, n is also 1. So which condition is satisfying here? So m is not equal to 0 and n is also not equal to 0. The second condition is satisfying. Third condition. Criteria C is satisfying. In that case, how do we write a of m comma n? A of m comma n is written something like this with this notation. So you write it as a of m comma n is written as a of m minus 1. What is the present value of m? M is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So this will become 0. Next, how do you write what we write in place of this second comma a of m comma n minus 1? So again call the recursive procedure a of m. What is m? M is 1 itself. For better understanding, I will write m equal to 1 and n is also equal to 1 in this place. So when this is the place when both are non-zeros, we rewrite the function like this. What is that? A of m minus 1. M is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So that is over. Next, how do you write this part? That is written by a of m comma n minus 1. What is m? M is 1. As well I have written. N is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So here I'll get 0. Simply I have written recursive definition. Now this is what we have got. In the next step, this 0 as it is, you leave it. Then how can we write a of 1 comma 0? Now whenever you are writing a of 1 comma 0, now we are trying to solve this. Please concentrate. We are trying to solve this part. When you are trying to solve this part, what is the value of m? 1 is the value of m. We erase this part. Right? Now I am trying to solve this one. Please concentrate. I am trying to solve this one. What is value of m? M is 1. What is value of n? N is 0. So this is what we are trying to solve now. When m is 1 and n is 0, which criteria will satisfy here? M is 1 and n is 0. So second criteria will satisfy. M is not equal to 0, but n is 0. In that case, how do we write a of mn? A of mn is written by a of m minus 1 comma 1. What you write, keep it as it is. How do you write this? A of mn is written as A of m minus 1 comma A of m minus 1 comma n. How do you write A of m minus 1? What is m? M is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0, comma. Then 1 you have to write. Then 1. So this has been, as per the procedure, this has been written like this. This has been written like this. Next, let us solve this part now. So in this part, what is the value of m? M is 0 and value of n is 1. M is 0 and n is 1. Which condition will satisfy now? M is 0. The first is yes, first condition A is satisfying. M is 0 and n is 1. When first condition is satisfying, how do you write A of m comma n? Simply write it as n plus 1. So this I have to solve now. The result of this one is what? 2. Because this is satisfying the first criteria. This is satisfying the first criteria A. A of 0 comma 1 is simply 2. Why it is 2? Value of n is 1. N plus 1 is 2. So A of 0 comma 2 we have got. This is the final now. This we have to solve. When you are solving A of 0 comma 2, so just say what is the value of m? M is 0 and n is equal to 2. Which criteria will satisfy? Again the A only. So when m is 0, then simply write it as n plus 1. What is the present value of n? N 2. 2 plus 1 is what? 3. That is what is result. That is what is result. It's a simple Ackermann function where you should remember these properties for calculation of Ackermann's function. These are the 3 recursive procedures what we'll be using in the programming. The recursive procedures.